So here's a quick step-by-step video tutorial on our mouse poncho sewing pattern. So when you buy this one, you're going to get 3 different files: the pattern instructions, the face. This one's a freebie. Basically, you can get creative and use your own face for the poncho, but this is the one that I attached in case you want to make it exactly as this one in this video. And then lastly, our poncho pattern in sizes 2T all the way to 6 for children. So let's start off with the most important thing is making sure that when you're printing out our file, it's on the correct settings, right? So in the pattern instructions, I put in that you need to print out on 100% scale on A4 paper, okay? So the A4 paper, it's a little bit bigger than letters, so please make sure that you're buying the A4 for our patterns. And so, yeah. And then to make sure that, it's printed out correctly on our poncho pattern, on the first page, I recommend only printing out the first page first. On there's this little square called the test square, and so that little square has to measure 2 by 2 inches, or you could do centimeters, 5 by 5, and if it's the same size, then we're good to go and it's the correct size for us to cut and assemble. If we go back to the pattern instructions, I also attached this little picture of how to tape our PDF file of the poncho pattern. So all the sheets are labeled A1, A2, etc. And the way we're going to tape them is from left to right, up, down, right? So we're going to go from A1 all the way to A7, and then we're going to go down and go B1 all the way to B7, and then lastly C1 all the way to C6, right? We're taping them just like that. And another thing, we're connecting them on the dotted line, so you can overlap them if you want. However, I found it easier to cut one side on the dotted line and then tape it close together, and then I'll show you guys right here what I mean. And ta-da! This is what your pattern looks like once we taped all of the pages we printed out. So the last thing is making sure you're cutting the right size. So I had this little size key box on the top, kind of showing you guys what size represents every color. So if you want size 2, you would cut all of the patterns on the red line. Okay, so let me quickly cut this out. I'm going to do a size 6 just for this tutorial. So yeah, I'm just cutting out basically the last line of the pattern. And now we're ready to pin and cut into our fabric. So for this project, I recommend that you get a fabric that has some type of spandex or stretch. So fleece works pretty great with all of these fun poncho designs. And every pattern piece is labeled, so it will tell you how many pieces to cut out of each. So we're starting off with the hood area and we're cutting out 2 of each. And we're gonna sew with a 1/2 inch seam allowance for all of our pattern pieces. And we're sewing right sides together. So this step is optional. It's up to you whether you want to do this or not, or also depending on your fabric. Again, because I'm using fleece fabric, it doesn't really fray, but I wanted the inside to look nice, so I'm serging all of my pattern pieces. Again, it's optional. It's up to you. So yeah, the hood area is completed for right now. Let's move on to the little mouse ears. Okay, so for this one, I'm cutting out 4 out of fabric and 2 out of batting. You can also use the flex foam, the sew-in flex foam. That's an option too, but for this tutorial, I'm using batting. Okay, so yeah, we're going to attach that. This is the one that I'm using. I'm using the Polyfill Project Fleece batting. You could get this on any craft stores, Joann's, Hobby Lobby. So now we're going to trim and clip the curved areas of the mouse ears just to like shape it a little bit better once we flip it right sides. Again though, be careful though when you're clipping that you don't go through the stitch line. But yeah, now we're gonna go back to our hood pattern piece, and so we're gonna mark 1.5 to 2 inches depending how you feel about like how where you want to place the ears. And so yeah, we're gonna start pinning that on there. This is optional, it's up to you how you feel. You can sew the mouse ears in place before putting the hood panel on top. Again, we're all at different sewing levels. For me, I feel comfortable pinning everything at once and then just doing one stitch line. And so yeah, we're basically kind of doing like a sandwich where we're pinning both the hood, the ears, and the hood panel right sides together and doing 1/2 inch seam allowance. And the last thing we're gonna do for the hood area is create the hem. Again, I'm serging the edge just because I want it to look pretty, and we're doing 1/2 inch hem. Okay, so now we're going to sew the back and front pattern piece of the poncho. So we're gonna pin them right sides together and sew the side seams at 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, so now we're gonna pin the hood onto the poncho. First off, I like to mark the center back and center front to help me guide me as I'm pinning the hood all around the neckline. And we're gonna again pin and sew at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, so the last step is to hem the poncho. For mine, I just went ahead and searched it because I really like how it looks. But again, you could always do 1/2 inch hem on yours. Again, get creative with our sewing pattern. And yeah, the last thing is to add this little fun ghost face. Like I told you guys earlier in the video, I attached this freebie template on there. You can use your own face. But yeah, I recommend cutting it out of felt. There's glitter felt if you want to make it a little bit more fun, and sew it onto your poncho. There's also another option where I have the embroidery file up on my shop. I already did a step-by-step video on how to do this applique. And yeah, I think it looks nicer when you do an embroidery finish, but I know that not everybody has an embroidery machine, so I'm giving you guys different options to finish and make your costume all fun and cute. Yeah, let me quickly put it on the dress form to show you the finished look, but I hope you guys found this step-by-step video tutorial helpful, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Okay, bye guys.